Hello. So we're back in the office for another Joseph Murphy SP video. If you have not been watching recently, or this is your first video ever on this channel, congratulations, you're in a good place for SP advice. We are currently doing a course on Joseph Murphy's wonderful chapter in The Power of Your Subconscious Mind called The Subconscious Mind and Marital Problems. Today's section that we're going to be reading and talking about is going to be short because I got to get going. But I wanted to read something that, again, is going to sound, for those of you coming from Neville, very similar to what Neville talks about, except as usual, when it comes to romantic relationship advice and relationship advice in general, Murphy tends to be a little bit more down to earth. Even though he's using this very poetic language, it tends to be a little bit more grounded than Neville. Now, again, that's not a knock on Neville. It's just that Murphy often gives, I would say, more practical sounding psychological advice, which many of us need when it comes to our relationships, than Neville. Neville was more sweeping, more dramatic for both good and bad. But Murphy and Neville are both wonderful relationship teachers if you look at it from a serious spiritual angle, which most people in the SP community do not. But if you do, your life changes, and it changes from the inside out. So this small section is called Don't Try to Make Your Wife Over. Normal disclaimer here, this is not old-fashioned advice that Murphy is giving. And obviously, it can be don't try to make your husband over, don't try to make your partner over, okay? This is not gender specific. Don't let any of the language seem like it's like, oh, the language might be slightly old-fashioned, this isn't relevant. Far from the truth. Everything that Murphy says here is highly relevant. He writes in this section, a husband must not try to make his wife over in a second edition of himself. The tactless attempt to change her in many ways is foreign to her nature. These attempts are always foolish and many times result in a dissolution of the marriage. These attempts to alter her destroy her pride and self-esteem and arouse a spirit of contrariness and resentment that proves fatal to the marriage bond. Okay. Nothing that Murphy says here, again, is like old-fashioned or out of date. We see so often in the SP community people talking about, getting... I mean, honestly, you hear language like getting your partner to conform, getting your SP to conform, right? All you Sammy Ingram watchers will know what I'm talking about when I say that. And people don't like it often when I say that. That's just blatant manipulation. But we have to call it like it is. It's blatant manipulation. And you know who's against that? Neville. You know who also is against that? Murphy. And you know who should be against that? You. If you want to be an intelligent, mature, loving person who's in a good relationship. This is what Murphy is addressing here. Tactless attempts to change somebody that are foreign to their nature. These attempts are always foolish and many times result in the dissolution of the marriage or of the partnership, of the relationship. Oh, why did my person leave? Why don't they talk to me? Why? Because you drove them crazy with your bullshit trying to change them into something they were not, something they did not want. Come on. Attempts to alter somebody, destroy someone's pride, and we say pride in a good way. You know, Marvin and I were talking about pride the other day in relation to the David Hawkins map of consciousness. You need pride. It's not a bad thing. Attempts to alter someone, destroy someone's sense of pride and their self-esteem, and arouse a spirit of contrariness and resentment. It proves fatal to a good marriage, a good relationship. Guys, this is common sense. And you might say, oh, I don't do that. Really? If you have SP issues, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and honestly judge your behavior. People generally speaking want to be loved. They don't want to be told what to do all the time. They don't want to be molded into your image. They want to be loved and supported. Murphy goes on to write here, adjustments are needed, of course, but if you have a good look inside your own mind and study your character and behavior, you will find so many shortcomings, they will keep you busy the rest of your life. If you say, I will make him over into what I want, you are looking for trouble and a divorce court. You are asking for misery. You will have to learn the hard way that there is no one to change but yourself. Ooh. This is the SP advice that people in the community, the SP community, don't want to hear, because this is the real relationship advice. This is where we start. If you want to work with Marvin and myself and improve your relationships forever and fix these romantic difficulties you have and bring more love into your life, there's a link below to a questionnaire. You can fill that out, get a free consultation with us. This is where we start. This is where Joseph Murphy starts. This is really what Neville meant. This is where he started too. If you can't be a good, decent, loving human being, why do you think you should be in a good, decent, loving relationship with somebody? Adjustments are needed, of course. Yeah, none of us are perfect. We all have stuff we have to adjust and work on. And we can point those out a little bit to our partner lovingly. But if we look inside our own minds and look at our character, you will find so many shortcomings that you'll be ashamed. That's what Neville said. Changing the feeling of I, that great Neville lecture. He goes, if you look at yourself and recognize this thing you called I, how wretched it was, you'd be embarrassed. That's what Murphy's talking about here. Most people in relationships, when they have issues, relationship problems, they're not looking at themselves and they're projecting these issues that are really within them onto their partner. They are trying to change their partner instead of trying to change themselves. That is a recipe for disaster. And as Murphy said, you're looking for trouble in the divorce court. You're asking for misery. You will have to learn the hard way that there is no one to change but yourself. Joseph Murphy, guys, really a great spiritual teacher, wonderful manifestation, law of assumption, law of attraction type of teacher. Recommend reading this chapter, watching this course. Again, the link to this course will be in the description, as is the questionnaire if you want to work with Marvin and I. This is the stuff to contemplate, okay? Not the wild theory and these zany success stories about how the SP came back, but how to live your life so you have a lasting, loving relationship with a wonderful husband or wife. The big stuff. Let's focus on what's important. You deserve that.